Shana Tova. This is our first class for Tafshin Pei Hey. Tehesh, not Peh. Pei Hey in Hebrew means mouth. This should be a year that everyone opens their mouth. So if you're only hearing classes up until now, so now is a good time to start giving classes. Everybody, no matter what you know, like the Lubavitcher Rebbe used to say very often, that even if you only know the first letter of the alphabet, Aleph, you should. But there's another Jew out there, or another person out there who doesn't know. He doesn't even know Aleph, and you do know Aleph, so you should go teach Aleph. So tehesh not peh. What stops people from doing this wonderful piece of advice and guidance from the Rebbe? That they don't have a mouth. We don't have enough courage and confidence to open our mouth. We have, again, the wrong ideas in our mind that who am I and what am I to give a class. So everyone who's watching us and anyone who's not watching us, but if you can convey it to every person in the world, whatever you know about HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the presence of Hashem in your life, then you have to go out and tell your neighbor, tell your friend, tell anyone you meet in the store, in the market. And that's the blessing that we're giving everybody for this year, Tehesh not Peh. It should be a year of opening one's mouth. Bezrat Hashem. With that said, we'll say a Torah today from the final parasha, of the Torah, V'zot HaBracha. This coming week we're not going to read from this portion because it's Yom Kippur, but we're only actually going to read this parasha at the end of Sukkot, right before Simchat Torah. But since that's where we reached up to in our contemplations on Mea Shilach, the book that we're contemplating on this year, so we'll say a beautiful vort, a very short, beautiful vort. In the beginning of the parasha, the whole parasha is Zot HaBracha, like the title of the parasha is that this is the blessing that Moshe Rabbeinu gave to the Jewish people before his passing. And he singles out every tribe and he gives them a specific blessing that's appropriate for them. But before he starts wording out his specific blessings for every tribe, there are a few verses that start the parasha, general verses that Moshe Rabbeinu sort of blesses the whole people. He describes the whole Jewish people, the whole of our people. And what he says there, one of the first verses is Mimino Eshdat Lamo, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, from his fiery right hand, gave us his rulings, his decrees. And the verse, the phrase that Moshe Rabbeinu describes for the description of the Torah, of the giving of the Torah, is that it's a fire that comes from Hashem's right hand. Mimino eshdat lamu. From his right hand comes this fiery word of Hashem. Now this is an inherent paradox because, as we know, the right hand is usually parallel to the side of chesed, of loving kindness, and fire is usually associated with a fierce, a more mighty side of Hashem. The left hand is usually the side of might, and the right hand, side of a person is usually associated with love, kindness, and giving, a softer side. So what is this phrase that the Torah comes, Mimino eshdat lamu? It's a fiery right hand. So he says, again, a very simple and beautiful contemplation that every one of us can take for this new year and integrate it into our lives. What's the fiery might of the Torah? What's the angle that's seemingly full of rebuke and more than rebuke? Just the fire is something that usually disintegrates, takes things down to its most seminal building blocks, like turning it into ashes. A fiery approach or a mighty approach is full of decrees and details, and that's what he says in the Torah. When you receive the Torah from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, especially the more the generations go on, the more this happens. The more you see that there's a petty meddling with infinite details, and how much HaKadosh Baruch Hu's attention is set on every single aspect of a person's life. So today, after 3,500 years from the giving of the Torah, it's developed so much, not only by how HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave it to us, but especially even more so by the way that our sages, to this very day, every person, every human being who studies Torah, every Jew, every rabbi or sage, or even just a simple Torah studier, even us ourselves, all of us now studying Torah, so every time you approach the Torah and you contemplate on it, then you break it down to more and more details. If you open a Shulchan Aruch or any book of laws from today, tenfold more detailed than what is in the seminal script of the Torah. So not only is the Torah itself full of 613 decrees, those decrees then develop and evolve and breed more and more an infinite amount of minuscule details that enter and penetrate every moment and every aspect of a human being's life. How you wake up in the morning and which shoelace you tie first. And Ishbitzer says that this is, on a superficial level, that it feels very, again, a very severe, like a lot of severity. The left side is full of severity. Like we said, a fiery, mighty approach is something that usually breaks down to details. And when something is so penetrating a person's detail, it could feel overwhelming. So much so that from a superficial point of view, it feels like the Torah is very restricting. It's full of restrictions. Again, the attention to detail causes infinite restrictions. So he says that this phenomenon, these restrictions, they don't come from actual severity. The opposite is true. They all stem from the right-hand side. That's what the verse says. Mimino esh dat lama. From his right, from his loving kindness, come all of this fiery restrictions. Why is that? Because the more Hashem cares, the more love Hashem has, the more attention to details there is. And this is, again, obviously a simple psychological phenomena that a person's restraints or petty, minuscule attention to detail is always focused on places that he cares for. So you only get angry at your kids, and you only get annoyed with your spouse because you care about them. So if your son runs into the streets, so you have a fit. And you yell, and you say, you should never do that. Maybe you punish him. And every time he walks out of the house, then you notice, is your shirt clean? Are you wearing a sweater? Is it cold outside? You have to do this, you have to do that. Don't do this, do that. Okay, so you only treat your own children that way. But if it's the neighbor's children, hopefully we all care about our neighbor's children as well, but not as much, naturally. Because when there isn't as much intrinsic love, then there isn't as much attention to detail. This attention to detail, it stems from the abundance of love. He who he loves is where he's focused. And Hashem's focus is what brings about so much attention to all of these minuscule details in our lives. So all of these halachot, all of these details of the Torah, it's all an expression of how much HaKadosh Baruch Hu cares, how much, and it's so much so that really it's sometimes just hard to believe. So hard to believe that this is maybe the first and foremost source of difficulty to believe in the Torah. That how could HaKadosh Baruch Hu care about these mundane, minuscule issues? So really what that sensation is, when a person feels so much that there could be like a heretic experience, that it couldn't be that someone cares so much. What this is a lack of trust, a lack of faith in Hashem's love. It's not us being afraid of so much severity. The opposite. Same thing between children and parents, or a spouse, anyone you love, any loved one. When a person doesn't believe in your love, so he takes the superficial attention to details as something antagonizing, something that's restricting him. But the more you notice your love, you walk out of the house and your mother says, "Why aren't you wearing a sweater? Know that your shirt's not clean. Come here, I'll tie your shoelace." Okay, the more you feel that this is where her mind is set, this is where what she cares about. And the more you notice that, the more beauty and loving kindness appears within the might of the details, of the attention to details. This is what the verse says, is how the Israelites contemplates on. This is what the essence of the Torah is. And now we can also understand why the more the Torah develops, the more time goes by, the more details are exposed. Because again, all of our sages' study, and also our study of the Torah, should all stem from a place of trusting this love. And the more you trust Hashem's love, the more you can believe that He cares about these details. Should my tefillin be, are they exactly black? Are they exactly square? How close? And the willingness to go down to these details. How should I treat my friend? And write a full book of what I'm allowed to say. What is Lashon Hara? What isn't Lashon Hara? And henceforth, again, anybody who's familiar with Jewish literature. So there's a dozen of books on any topic, and written by, again, enormous sages, all stemming from this trust that HaKadosh Baruch Hu really cares. He's really there. He's really His attention is set on us, and the most minuscule details of our lives matter to him very much, just like a father to his son. And therefore, the details of his attention are infinitely developing. And the more you feel it that way, the more the fiery details are an expression of his love. Now, obviously, it goes without saying that this isn't only about the Torah. It's about anything in life. All of the details of Hashem's divine providence, where I can find the Kadosh Baruch Hu, all of the details of my life, of everybody's life. I wake up in the morning, and everything that happens to me, from the smallest thing to the largest thing, it's all guided by divine providence. And this is also what's the most difficult area of faith in life. And why? Because it's just hard to believe. If I had to run the world, if I were God, it couldn't be that I'd care so much. Like, I couldn't give it the time of day. But Hashem, He does. He cares. And believing in that is gravitating, or again magneting Hashem's presence and noticing it in every aspect of our lives. So it's not only in the rules of the Torah, also in our personal day-to-day life. Sometimes things do work out or don't work out, and believing that it's all guided. And Hashem is present, and because He cares. He cares if I miss the bus or don't miss the bus. He cares if I wake up in a good mood or don't wake up in a good mood. And just the realization of that caring, like a loving parent who cares about all, again, like most loving parents, sometimes they fret too much. Okay, but that feeling of my parents being overly involved is actually a lack of trust in their love. If I believe that it's all coming from their kindness and love, they care so much, they care too much. So their involvement would be pleasant and an expression of kindness, not a sense of severity and retribution or something that's restricting me, only an expression of how much they love me. But since it's hard to believe that they love me so much, so sometimes I think maybe it's not all coming from love, and then I feel that it's harsh. Same thing with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The more we believe it's all coming from Hashem's love, the more pleasant and exciting and wonderful it is to notice how much Hashem is concentrated on all the details of the reality that He created, how much He cares for every single creation, from the smallest worm to the largest star. Everything is important to Him and noticed by Him, and therefore He has what to say about it, because He cares. So all of this appearance of Hashem in the details is a fiery, wonderful expression of Hashem's love. And that's how the beginning of the blessing to all of the tribes starts out. So to all of the people in the world, this is the first blessing of Moshe Rabbeinu, to notice that the giving of the Torah, we're saying this in the culmination of the Torah, all of the Torah and everything that's going to come from the Torah, all of the details, all of the minuscule details of the Torah, it's all an expression of how much Hashem cares. He cares for His creation that He's created, and He's involved in His creation. He's noticing everything. He's concentrated on every small details, and that's why He has what to say about it. So when we hear Hashem saying something about any detail, we should be so happy that here Hashem's noticing another aspect of our reality. Bezrat Hashem. So again, we'll repeat our blessing of this year, Tafshin Pei Hey. Everybody should take whatever it is that we already know and say it to a camera or say it to a person and give it onwards. And this will be a year where Hashem blesses all of us. It's another thing. Anything you have to say, it's like a child in kindergarten. You get up and you say you are part of the school play. So Hashem's waiting for you. Every parent who goes to a school play is just waiting to hear his child's portion. So any person out there who hasn't said something, so Hashem's waiting for you to get on stage and say whatever it is that you have to say, whatever is your unique statement about your connection with Hashem. And this year is the year to do that, Bezrat Hashem. Shana Tova, Gemar Chatima Tova to everyone. Kol Tov.